financially wise, what's the difference between being on maternity when you have a full-time job and being on maternity when you're self-employed?
Meant that even though I wasn't actively with any kind of strategy posting stuff on social media, even though you'd think Instagram will probably be high up on the like.
How do you plan for that financially to ensure that it doesn't affect the life that you live now?
I have crunched the numbers and looked at the different areas of services and what I offer, and it is very realistic and feasible for me to grow my business to have a very lucrative.
Welcome, I'm Tracy Irwin and I'm passionate about financial independence and wanted to share stories of inspiring entrepreneurs to prove it's possible for everyone to strive towards financial freedom. Today, I'm talking to Marie-Louise O'Neill. She's a branding and Canva expert working from home while caring for her family. So welcome, Marie-Louise. It's lovely to speak to you again. So first of all, can you tell people a little bit about what you do in your business so they can understand like who you are?
Yeah, so I am a trained graphic designer with over 20 years of experience. So I actually studied branding and packaging at uni many moons ago. And I discovered the program Canva back in 2017. A client that I was working with said, "Oh, hey, can you create these templates in there?" And I said, "Yeah, let's have a look at this thing." And I felt that it was a really good tool that bridged the gap because I work with a lot of small business owners, solopreneurs, that kind of thing, who were trying to DIY stuff in things like Word and PowerPoint or, God forbid, Publisher. And not everyone has got a big budget to outsource everything to a professional designer like myself. And I just wanted to be able to empower my clients to have the best starting point. So with bespoke templates, to have a consistent brand. And Canva is just such a fantastic tool that democratizes design. And, I'm someone who can bridge that gap, helping them make the most not only out of the tool, but also have the tools, the templates to do that. So, yeah, so I teach people how to use Canva. I've got my lovely Canva Club membership. So I love training people with that and seeing people grow their confidence over time. And then I also have various done for you services. So I do like various like branding, logo design. And I have a service called Get Your Designs Done, which is like my bish bosh, like we just get it done. And my methodology is working on Zoom. So like I really have involve my clients in the design process. I take away that backwards and forwards, that kind of trying to be psychic, like what do the clients want? Or with a lot of small business owners, they don't have the knowledge or experience to brief a designer.
Yeah.
So they're like, oh, you're the professional, you do it, like best. But like everyone has an opinion, like even people who class themselves as not creative or has no kind of eye of colors, don't look at my house kind of thing, but everyone has an opinion. So by working on Zoom and involving my clients part of the process, it really cuts out some of the backwards and forwards, the ping pong of emails, and it's a fun time. I enjoy it. Like
It is.
it speeds it up, and my clients get to really be part of the process. It's a collaboration at its purest and finest form.
Nice. What brought you to self-employment?
So it was in reaction to I'd been working in London. I joined a small design firm as part of a large like print company based in London, and was commuting like 2 hours each way. And I joined I think in 2007, I think it was. And then the credit crunch hit. So I was sort of felt a little bit stuck there. And I ended up staying there like 8 or 9 years. And I eventually was like, right, it's time to go. And towards the end of that, I had a son who's now 11.
Yeah.
And when it was time to go for various reasons, I was looking around locally in Northampton, where I'm based, for a graphic design job. I was working 4 days a week because, you know, when you have maternity, you can kind of negotiate that. And so I was doing 4 days a week and I was happy with that. Like finances wise, I couldn't afford to take anything less. But it worked for me. It was like I made it work. It was fine. But going out and looking for a job, they were all like, I got quite far with some interviews, but they're all like, it's full time. And my son wasn't even 2 then. And I think I'd been a bit burnt by the previous employers, and I kind of probably carried some of that through and was just like, my kind of non-negotiable really in a way was working full time. I was trying to see if I could get a compressed working week or working 4 days a week, and I could understand it from you know, the agency's point of view that they've got a list of what they want, but there wasn't that flexibility and support, even in what you think is the creative industry. You think they'd be more forward thinking. It'd probably be a different time now, one would hope, because of the positive impact that came out of everyone working from home during the
Yes.
pandemic. There is a lot more flexible working, but at the time it was like, no, we want someone full time. And so even though I was, even back then, still a very experienced designer, it was like I didn't get any of the jobs that I applied for. So I was like, okay, well, I'll just work for myself. And I'd already had my foot in the door with that because I'd launched my own wedding stationery business called Lovely Designs back
Okay, so
then.
that's where the lovely came from.
Yeah, so it was sparked because I got married in 2008 and I did my own wedding stuff. Um, and everyone said on the day, like, oh, isn't it a lovely wedding? Isn't it a lovely day? And I just thought, oh, the word lovely, isn't it a lovely word? And so thought, well, there'll be other friends and family and connections. It was just a really nice side business that didn't conflict with my day job.
Yeah.
Um, because I'm someone who's very like integrity is a key thing. And so I was very transparent when I was looking to set that up so that my boss knew and that there wouldn't be any conflict of interest there. So yeah, so I already had sort of things like an accountant and I had a website, and so there was things that I had in place. So I was like, okay, well we'll give it a go and see how things pan out. And yeah, I'll be my business in its full time kind of format uh, will be turning 10 in January. So
Congratulations.
yeah, thank you. Yeah. So it seems a bit funny to me to know that, like, yeah, it's nearly a decade and I've clung on for dear life at times,
So
now being one of them.
yes, I know you've had another son, haven't you, since like so you've got two children with an age
Yes.
gap. So financially wise, what's the difference between being on maternity when you have a full-time job and being on maternity when you're self-employed?
It's a whole different it's a whole different experience. So I didn't really fully shut off this time round. So yeah, I had my second son in June of 2024, so last year. And I was preparing for it. There was sort of things that I set in place. I had a trusted, well, I still have a trusted friend and designer who's local that I trusted with the password for my laptop and just like access to things in a worst case scenario kind of thing. I got life insurance, indemnity insurance, all the stuff just in case. And yeah, so I had a very short maternity leave. So with when I was employed, I had 8 months off. That was what felt right for me. And I don't have any regrets of that, but I fully like was shut off and just like it was fine. I didn't have to worry. There were other employees. It was already planned. Like there were things in place. But as my own, you know, being, you know, a solopreneur, I was keeping an eye on emails. I mean, I did notify any clients that had was like still in progress or like were on hold, just so that they knew that if they just suddenly went, oh, I wanted to pick this up, they know that I wasn't going to be able to do that, and step down from networking. um, yeah, social media was a complete afterthought.
Yes.
I think the only thing I was posting was on like Facebook, was like spamming people with baby photos.
Baby, when I
Yeah,
had my grandchildren over the summer, I realised how hard it is for people with children to keep up with social media because I was very
yeah,
aware I didn't want to be on my phone all the time. Whereas now, when like my partner's gone to work, I have a cup of tea in the morning after I've walked. So I literally get up, I walk the dogs, I make myself a brew, I sit down, and for about 40 minutes, I interact on LinkedIn. And
yeah,
that's my marketing time. That's me connecting with people. But when I had the grandkids, I thought, oh, I've got loads of time because I'm not going to work. Don't. I just didn't. I like
yeah,
physically couldn't get time because I wanted to be present. And it
yeah,
was like, this is so difficult. So I can actually empathize with that because I was like, I've just been through it in the summer holidays. Um, and all my social media was already scheduled to do that. And I thought I'd be able to keep up with the actual interacting bit, and I could not.
yeah. I had to just sort of be like, what is the priority? And I know all like the stats of like showing up and being visible. What's been great, and is a testament to being like having that relationship being built, like have banking that network, as it were, meant that even though I wasn't actively with any kind of strategy posting stuff on social media, even though you'd think Instagram would probably be high up on the like things that I was posting, but Instagram had quite frankly pissed me off with their changing of their gallery view, and I was like, I
Yes.
had it all nice, I had all my templates. So it was a thing of like, right, well, I want to use the opportunity to maybe refresh the look of things, rethink all of that, and that side of like getting back into it is just taking longer. So now I'm like, okay, well, it's not going to be kind of what I want it to be visually, but I need to get posting again. Whereas like LinkedIn, I feel is a bit more forgiving because there isn't that same seeing like a gallery view.
Yeah.
So I was posting on LinkedIn and still am, and Facebook probably is the most that I mostly like post on. But yeah,
Are
it's
you
just like
are
you
you
just
back
do what you
working
can.
full? Are you back working full time after maternity now? Do you
No,
feel? No.
no.
Okay.
And that's not for the want of wanting to. It's
Okay.
just yeah, like you mentioned with your own kind of experience with being with grandchildren. So the summer holidays is a time where the last few years, or probably since the pandemic, really, when or coming out of that, I just sort of realized that um I find that when my son is off school, my eldest, I feel like my brain goes, it's the weekend. I don't want to work. I turn into Kevin the teenager. And so I've tried to fight it, or I felt guilty, or this or that. And now I'm just like, okay, well, how can I do what I can and just, I guess, in effect, work sort of semi part time or flexibly during those sort of periods, and just be a bit more go with the flow, So I will still have stuff that I'm working on, but I try not to take too much on. So for me, September was supposed to be the kind of return to work. My husband's health, he has rheumatoid arthritis, so there's been some challenges in that return to work because of his health, combined with, well, we've got a small person, a small human now running around because he's 15 months old and toddling around, climbing stuff he shouldn't, opening cupboards and
Great
all.
age.
So yeah, he's a real joy, but he's also like there's no like relaxing around him. But yeah, so it's been one thing after another.
How do you manage that financially then when you're actually like wanting to spend time with the family and caring for all your family? Like when things happen that out of the blue, like your husband has a flare up, for instance, how do you plan for that financially to ensure that it doesn't affect your like the life that you live now?
Yeah, so it's I haven't planned for it in the sense that before I went on maternity leave, I had a certain amount that I want to have in my business bank. I tend not to have very much in my own debit account because I put most of my earnings into our joint account because that's
Yeah,
managing our like day-to-day life cost. Um, but yeah, so I found during the time when I was having like that initial time off, there's the kind of there was a bit of a tricky time there. So it was a case of speaking to any people that I was on any kind of like I owed money for and just sort of seeing what was the lowest I could spend to defer payments, to just like cancel anything that I didn't need. So I sort of stripped things back as much as I could.
are you working harder than ever, but feeling like you're getting nowhere? You're not alone. Most business owners I speak to feel trapped in their own success, working 60 hours plus a week, missing family time, and honestly, they're not even sure why they feel so stuck. They just know something needs to change. If this sounds familiar, I've created a quick quiz to help you find out why you feel stuck in your business. It takes only 2 minutes and I give you clarity on exactly what's keeping you trapped and, more importantly, how to break free. The link's in the description, so why not take it now?
Yeah, so like, and then things were sort of improving a little bit, but things have dipped again because of the impact of the summer holidays, of that
Yep.
being quiet generally, um, and just sort of like being on a bit of a shoestring. So just life is quite
Are
lean
you
at
good
the
at
moment.
budgeting? Are you good at budgeting?
I wouldn't say it's like my favorite thing. I mean, I do have spreadsheets and have a rough idea of like my general outgoings in my business. I do look at the mobile apps to see like what we're spending money, and
Yeah.
I have a spreadsheet to keep an eye on like the overall like what's coming in or like where are all the accounts and credit cards at this point. So yeah, so things are a bit squeezed at the moment. So but I have got like leads and things in the pipeline. So hopefully things will recover again and I can slowly but surely build up like my pot, like my kind of baseline, and things can be a little bit less squeaky bum time.
Yes.
Um,
Do
yeah.
you feel like having the membership, because the membership is a like a monthly recurring fee, knowing what's coming in like before it even happens, because obviously the other stuff is like graphic design tends to be project based and it's
Yes.
not so easy to like to guess like what's coming in, but actually by creating the membership you've done something really special because you actually now know because of your members that you know how much is going to come into your bank account. Does that help you in your mindset?
A little bit, but I don't have the membership numbers at this point for it to be something that I can fully relax on.
Yes.
Um, Historically, my kind of bread and butter is the design services. So although it's been on my agenda for a long time to really grow the membership so that I can, because not only do I love doing it, but from a business point of view and a financial point of view, there's that stability and recurring income that as you said, like with like project based stuff, you never know. Like
Yeah.
sometimes you can't really plan. Like I can't, I can know traditionally that September in up until Christmas can be quite a good time for me.
Yeah.
That it's traditionally like there are projects come in and stuff like that. January can be a little bit quieter, and so there are kind of peaks and troughs.
Seasonal. Yeah.
Yeah, just like in terms of like buying habits and stuff like that. But yeah, that is the kind of more mid to longer term goal, is to really grow the membership, so that I can have a bigger impact, and also to be able to have that sort of stable income. So yeah, so that's my kind of waffly answer. Yes, in theory, but no, in practical
Not
terms,
this
because I
minute.
don't have it. Yeah, yeah.
So how do you stay motivated? So how do you stay motivated on when there's times when they're dipping? Like what stops you from going and looking for a job, for instance, when things feel a little bit difficult?
So I did look at getting a job or a part-time job. Um, I think it was sort of at the back of last year, was sort of looking into things like that. But it was, I guess, what stopped me was like, well, I would some of the jobs I was looking at were sort of like going into London, and it was a day rate. But then because I'm in Northampton, just the cost of travel and the chunk that it would take out being away, especially uh like my baby would have been a lot, like, months old at that point. I think now I've kind of come full circle of like, I don't really want to go into London, and I've done that, been there, got
Yeah.
the t-shirt and all of that. I think I'm far better concentrating on my time on getting the business in and working on that and rebuilding that, rather than getting ad hoc days here and there. I
Yeah.
think it's a little bit of just, it's a lean time at the moment. But I have, again, like, because I've been in business a long time, I've seen the ebbs and flows, that that you never know what's like around the corner. And like also the difference that 100 quid here and 100 quid there makes. So like, for example, slight shameless plug, but in November I'm going to be opening up my membership. The training day that I do, I'm going to be doing a training about like reels and like video,
Yeah.
using a Canva to create that. I did rejig things because I think it was going to be in like September, and I'm like, I'm not ready for that. So I've like moved things around. So I thought November I can do some sort of Black Friday deal. I've got a little bit of time to promote it and things like that. Also, I'm a big believer in practicing what you preach. So I've been doing a few reels recently. So I'm going to get a few more under my belt. Like I've done them, but I think there's like doing practice, like I said, practicing what you preach, I think it's just
Seeing what
a
works,
practice
isn't it,
time.
for other people,
Yeah,
really?
I can say what looks good from a design point of view and recommend templates and stuff like that, but I think really truly doing it yourself is a good thing to sort of have and do. So that's sort of something that I'm like looking ahead to, and then hopefully that will bring a few more new members come in. um, I've identified that speaking and training to teams is really a good use of my time. um, so encouraging some of that. um,
Yeah.
yeah, so I've got lots of plans. I know where, like, sort of the best use of my time, where I can kind of have some quick wins. But it's that thing of like, when you're in the day-to-day grind, as it were, it's just, for me, it's like, what's the priority today? What's the one thing that I can get done that is going to fulfill a deadline that I've promised, or move the needle forward? I don't know, is there any other like cheesy like phrases that I
No,
can put in there?
that's it.
Think
That's
outside the
funnily enough,
box.
for me, so like when people come onto the Money Metrics Academy, we have a momentum meeting on a Wednesday, and I know you do your meeting on a Wednesday as well. And
Yeah,
we always look at what's the one thing that's going to move the needle forward? What's the one thing that's going to help you in your business? And just to hold them accountable, just to hold them
yeah,
accountable to make that happen. Knowing that you've seen many peaks and troughs, and in the decade that you've been in business for, if somebody's going through this for the first time and they're listening to this and they're thinking, that's me right now, everyone's, because like people aren't spending the same right now. But if if they're that, what advice can you give them to kind of help them to like continue and keep that momentum, keep that passion going as well in their business when it's just a little bit quiet?
So there's a few things that I can say that's worked for me and continues to work for me. And I think it's being honest with yourself about how you're feeling. Running your own business is bloody hard. So, like, hats off for sticking with it and knowing that that's quite normal to have those peaks and troughs. There's things that we have control over, like how many calls, do you have with someone, or like with people, like how many
Yeah.
discovery calls, like what activities and actions can you take control of and do, and like what's that you can be positive about and take action with. There are going to be things that are out of your control, like you can have a meeting with someone and they're like, oh, you're great, but I just don't have the budget right now, so you're going to get the no's. But I think making sure that you've got an official or unofficial mentor, like
Yeah.
someone that you can speak to. So I have, I'm very blessed to know that I've got a lot of people, both in the business world and I guess personally as well, that I can lean on or like just share how I'm feeling. I'm someone who's like get my head down and get on with it. I sometimes don't even realize when I'm stressed. Like it's usually it comes out like a few days later that I'm like, oh, actually, I'm quite stressed. Um, and I've learned, I think knowing yourself is key with that. So knowing and recognizing that, I think once you know and kind of put your hand up and go, oh, actually I'm really stressed or I'm struggling right now, being able to offload that in a safe space to share how you're doing. And but not only like personally but in a business setting, because if someone is that you respect and is maybe in the same industry or whatever, can be like, actually that's happened to me as well, and like that's normal, you will come out of it. From a practical point of view, um look at your outgoings and just see, is there anything that you like, subscriptions that you can pause or cancel. Where is your money best being spent so that you're still functioning. You know, often what happens is people's marketing budget gets scrapped first.
Such
And
the wrong thing to do.
yeah, so you don't want to stop marketing.
No.
But I would say think about what works for you. Like I was talking to my brother the other day. He runs his own landscaping business in
Okay.
Farnham in Surrey, and he has also been having some challenges with like his business in terms of like people saying they'd work with him and then it falls through and stuff like that, and sort of his more like maintenance clients, some of them, falling out off the list. And he was saying, well, he likes to get his business through referrals. And so I was like, well, why don't you go on to good old chat GPT and ask for some sort of like strategy, but based on encouraging referrals of existing clients and past clients, because there's all these things that in
Yeah.
marketing that you could do this and steal my method for that. And but like you need to sort of know in your own business, like what do you enjoy doing the most, as an activity, and what is going to have the best you like return on investment, I
It
guess.
is.
So
And I think
yeah,
that knowledge of actually understanding what's working in your business right now is paramount, because so many people just they think that they need more clients and they're just chucking money at marketing and not
yeah,
knowing what works. They could be spending hundreds of pounds on Facebook, but actually they're probably a cheaper method, like you said, like referrals. Even if you offer a thank you of money when you've offered a referral, it's still probably cheaper than doing Facebook ads or
yeah,
or doing networking. If you are a people person and you know people are going to buy you, don't hide behind Meta. Like get out there, and you need to
yeah,
like. And that's how we met, wasn't it? Through a networking
yeah,
event, and then we like had a chat and stuff. And now my VA is part of your membership, and it's like
yep,
that's kind of like what happens.
Yeah,
So yeah, it's brilliant. So I didn't. I was going to ask you another question. I know what it was. I remembered now. So you told me at the beginning of this call before we actually press record that you've recently won an award. So do you want to share with everyone what the award was for, and so you can
yeah,
see how much actual juggling you actually do in your life?
yeah. So I'm a Digital Women member, and that is a organisation, a membership that is championing and supporting, encouraging women in the digital realm. So I very much am in that camp. And you don't have to be a member to put yourself forward, nominate yourself, or be nominated for the awards. Um, and I have in the past put myself up for various awards that like relevant design and business awards. That was like part of like my marketing. The last year or so, I've like not bothered because I've not been able to commit to going to like award ceremonies and things like that. But earlier this year, it popped up that Digital Women, they were doing their awards, and I was a runner-up previously for a different category. And I saw this carer award. I was like, I've not ever seen within the business world
No, me neither.
an award that's dedicated people running a business, or I guess in Digital Women, you don't have to have your own business, but you're maybe employed in the digital world, but like you're juggling that side of things with caring for someone in your family or in your world. And I was just like, I've got to nominate myself. I genuinely didn't know what the outcome would be, but I was just like, this, it really spoke to me. And so I nominated myself. I shared what was going on with the juggles of going, like having a child, a second child, and trying to return to work with a baby, the struggles that we've had earlier this year with my husband's rheumatoid arthritis having a flare up. So like it just completely like wiped my day out, like in terms of, because he's the main carer of our youngest son, and he just wasn't physically able to do it, certainly in the mornings. Like as the day progressed, he was a bit more physically able.
Your business is successful, so why do you feel so miserable? Here's the thing, success doesn't always automatically equal freedom. I see profitable business owners every day who can't take a holiday, who can't switch off, and they feel completely overwhelmed by their own achievements. Sound familiar? Well, I've created a simple quiz that pinpoints exactly why you feel stuck in your business. It will give you the clarity you need to move from being trapped to being free. Why don't you take the quiz now? The link's in the description below.
Thankfully, he's a bit better now. He's still got some issues, and unfortunately, he's struggling to get himself seen by the hospital. They're like having none of it. So, like, even though he wants the care, it's just not happening as yet. So, fingers crossed that will happen. But yeah, so I applied, I became a finalist, and a couple of weeks ago went into London for a day of like panel talks and networking and celebrating, and I bloody won. So
Yay!
I've got my little award here. So
Oh, fab.
um,
Oh, that's a
yeah,
nice little
there we go.
award.
It helps if I put it the right way around. So yeah, so I've got my little name on it. So yeah, so Care of the Year 2025 with Digital Women. And it just means the world to me, because it's like we don't see what's going on behind the scenes of someone else. Like if you look on social media, I'm not someone to share all the warts and all. I've got no issue with someone else. Like everyone feels differently about what they share. And I do share more vulnerable stuff from time to time. But yeah, so I guess people probably didn't realize what I was struggling with, that, I'm supporting my husband. We've got the added joy and responsibility of our youngest. And it was bloody hard, and it still is bloody hard because now my dad, bless him, he sort of tripped over and broke hip, so he's in hospital and about to come out. Thankfully, my parents took the step to move up to Northampton something like 8 years ago.
Okay.
Um, but yeah, it's another layer. So
Yeah.
like, it's like, oh, well, I thought I was kind of getting back into sort of more, maybe not full time, but like upping my activities. Like I'd signed up for various like events and really being like, yes, now's the time. I feel ready. Like my husband is like settled. The little one is, you know, less little. And then that happens, and I think this all happens, a version of this happens to us all at some point, but it is made a lot harder when you're running your own business because you're trying to meet deadlines, you're still trying to show up, and like today I was like, well, I could have rescheduled, but I was like, you know what, I have got the time to do it, and let's do it anyway. Let's show
Yeah.
up and be like, this is real life.
Thank you so much for turning up today. I do really, really appreciate your time. And I'm the same. I see people who, cancel things too easy sometimes because and it isn't really business owners, by the way. I think like once we're a business owner, we realize that we just have to turn up. That's what our job is, just to turn up every single day. And like I told you a couple of weeks ago, I went to a funeral in the morning of a family member, and then I went to the hospital to see one of my friends who has a brain tumor, and that really affected me. But I had my momentum meeting that afternoon and I turned up anyway, because that's what we do. That's
Yeah.
just what we do. And yeah, so
I
well
would say
done.
on the flip side, though, that neither of us, I don't think, are saying you show up to everything and that you have to
No,
like
just
chug on
committed things.
regardless. You need to like listen to yourself and like know what's like. I mean, there was a time about, I think it was like last month, and I had a dodgy tummy. Don't know what I'd eaten, but I was like, I was not in a fit state to run my meeting, and luckily it was one that could be guest hosted. So I got someone in to step in because I was just like, I'm not soldiering on through this one.
No,
And I'm glad
no,
I did because I was having a nap recovering very much so. So yeah,
self-care
so
definitely
pick
comes
pick
first.
your battles. I think like yes, you do kind of learn to be like have a bit more like grit and gumption, I guess.
Yes.
And but
Yeah.
yeah, but we're not
No, no, no,
advocating
we're
to
not.
like
No,
drive
we're not
yourself into
turning
the
up to
ground.
everything. I
I
think
did I did reschedule some client meetings and things just because I didn't know what things were going on. I think communication is key, isn't it? Like
yes,
when
it is.
when in life, you get that curveball, you know, it's like, well, what can I do, what can I change? For me, the big thing that has got me through this tough time has been being flexible, rescheduling stuff, forgiving myself as well, being kind to myself, because
Yeah.
I'm quite, I get a lot of self worth out of doing stuff, like I've achieved this, I did it, and like not feeling like I've achieved it. Like it's 3 o'clock and my eldest is about to come back from school. I'm like, well, by the time the morning had gone, because I was, hanging out with my youngest because I was waiting for my husband to get mobile and awake. Um, and then it was like, oh, well, then it's lunchtime. And then suddenly it was like, oh, well, the day's pretty much gone. And that was happening quite a lot. So it's, yeah, it's not always easy. And I didn't always have the motivation. Some of the problem was that I'd maybe have the time and that there was childcare in place and there was a perfect time to do stuff. And I was just like, I'm just emotionally and mentally drained.
Yeah.
I
I
don't
think
have the motivation. Um, but thankfully I have the motivation now, but not the time.
so. I know you're still on your journey for financial independence. I totally understand that. And a lot of people who listen to this are on the same journey. Like, what does financial independence mean to you? And what needs to happen for you to know that you feel for yourself that you've reached it?
Um, I guess I see it in a little bit in being in stages, because I'm not someone who can be like, oh, I'm aiming for 10-figure months and all of that, or 10K months or whatever,
Yeah.
5-figure this and all of that. I have crunched the numbers and looked at the different areas of services and what I offer, and it is very realistic and feasible for me to grow my business to have a very lucrative and, in my eyes, a financially successful business. Um, but I think it can take longer to build some of that momentum. So, like the growth in my membership and stuff like that. Um, so, yeah, so it feels a little bit of a long way off before I'm going to be in a place where I'm like thriving. It's now like nap time. My husband we had a chat before this. I'm like, can I please do it in the office? Stroke my son, my baby's room. I've got a cot over there, one of those
Oh,
IKEA leap things. Yeah, so yeah, I don't know. I think I'm almost in a bit of being in a firefighting mode for, I don't know, 18 months or something. Because there, even during the pregnancy, I didn't have the energy to like be at my best then either. So yeah, so I don't know. I'm just putting one step forward. It's about prioritizing what's gonna be what can I do today that is
yeah,
gonna move forward. But yeah, it'll be nice to just be able to take a breath and be like, oh, okay, we can afford this. I can be paying money into the joint account.
yeah.
So yeah, but for me, success is about choices. So being able to have that time freedom to show up and be with my family when I want, to be able to take the summer holidays and school holidays off entirely without guilt or worrying about money. That would be amazing. That would be a marker of success for me.
That's a lovely goal to have. That is
Yeah.
an amazing goal. I
But
do
like I,
something.
I have, like I said, I have had some really amazing highs. So I know that I can build back towards it. But I also don't, I'm also at an age because I'm 43, and there are signs of the perimenopause, and so I'm not in that place mentally or physically to be like, yeah, just hustle, just try harder, work later. I'm like, no, by 5 o'clock I'm done. Like
Yeah,
there's no working in the evenings if I can help it, because there's like nothing left in the tank. So it's very much about how can I make the most of, if I've only got an hour today, how can I make the most of it? So
that's.
today I made the most of my hour by talking to you, Tracy, and
Oh,
your
thank
lovely
you.
listeners.
It's strange because like motivation is it's not a muscle. It's more like a fuel tank. So it's like our willpower does deplete over time, and I agree. Perimenopause does not help. I think we use more petrol during the day in our fuel tank, and it does affect our like how long we can be motivated for.
Yeah.
I do see a lot online now that it's such a bigger topic of conversation. Like I remember saying to my mum when I was in perimenopause, and that's 7 years now, and I said to her, I said, "Why didn't you warn me? Like, why did you not tell me that this was going to happen?" And she's like, "I don't think I suffered like you do, Tracy." She said, "I don't." She said, "I was working part-time. I wasn't very like I didn't need to use my brain so
Yeah.
much." She said, "So it wasn't a bigger deal as much for her as it's
Yeah.
been for me." But I also think that maybe it was in some respects, but it wasn't talked about the same. It wasn't, she didn't, when she was going through it, she didn't know that that's what it was. She'll have thought it was something else. So
But
yeah,
also, did you say she's employed?
she was employed. Yeah.
I think that is a big difference. Like talking back to like the difference between what it was like being employed, having maternity leave, and then being self-employed, and the difference of like switching off, etc. But I think the same is the flip side as well, is that I would show up at work. I would take myself off to the train station, head off there, even if I had a really bad cold. Like there was usually like I had to be like, you know, really ill to like
Yes.
not go in. And you just be like, oh, you just get on with it, you
Yeah.
know. And I guess maybe it's because I'm that little bit older, just don't have as much energy in the tank, or maybe it's because, well, it's my business. I can, well, maybe I could do that tomorrow. So I think I don't show up in my business like I used to show up as an employee to work, and maybe I should, but like it's a different season of life,
You
like I
have
have.
choices. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's what it
yeah.
is. You do have choices. And to be fair, if you're
Sometimes I
poorly,
choose to have a nap, quite
yes,
frankly.
sometimes turning up to work when you're poorly is actually counterintuitive because it will
Yeah,
take you longer to get better. So people do turn up to work. I am that person. I mean, I touch wood, I don't get ill very often at all. So I am like really lucky that way. But stay away from children.
I don't have that luxury.
No, every time I go to England, like quite often at Christmas, I quite often come home with a cold because that's what
Yeah,
my grandkids give me for Christmas. But other than that, I'll kind of like I don't really feel like perimenopause is probably the biggest like barrier that I've got to working properly. I remember I did a talk on Saturday, and when I was talking to people, it was in London, and it's for PTs and coaches,
yeah,
and I was losing my words slightly in the morning, and it was because I hadn't had a brilliant night's sleep.
yeah,
And so then I found these drinks that were on offer, and one of them had creatine in it. Now,
yeah,
creatine helps your brain to function. And I went, when does this kick in? She was like, oh, about 3 hours, I think. Why? And I was like, because I've got a talk in 4. I said, can I
yeah,
have one of these drinks, please? I said, I don't want to lose any words at all whilst I'm on stage. And I
yeah,
had this creatine drink, and I'm not putting it down to the creatine drink, by the way, but my talk was amazing. Like, I loved every minute of it. I didn't forget anything. I didn't trip over any words like we do
yeah,
when we're struggling. And so maybe I just need to drink creatine before I do any speech whatsoever.
yeah. Well, even if it's the placebo effect, it's still good.
Exactly that.
Yeah,
Yeah, exactly
yeah.
that. So, just before we finish, then, what's on the cards for Marie Louise towards your financial independence journey? What do you think your next couple of years looks like?
So I think it's positive.
Yeah.
I'm generally a positive person. So although, like I said, things are challenging right now, I think we don't stay in one phase forever. This too shall pass. And yeah, so I'm sort of looking ahead to the sort of remaining quarter of this year just to sort of get back into things as much as I can. And then I'll be looking to sort of really planning for next year. But I think things will be growing and improving. It's very clear to me that my membership adds so much value to not only my members, but also in terms of a key service within my business, for what it brings to me financially and the potential of it. There's no cap on like earnings and stuff like that. So it's been really a slap in the face of like how important it is to nurture that aspect of my business. Yeah, and just really that phrase work smarter, not harder. It will be the thing. I don't know if you've like heard of the having the word of the day. No, word of the year. Having a word
Yes.
for the year. I've got no like words. Words are difficult. So the word of the year last year, and I carried it through to this year, is flow. And I have it as my desktop saver and on my phone because I want to be in flow. I will go with the flow and just sort of yeah, just sort of like rather than fighting things, it's like
Yeah.
how can I kind of shuffle things around? How can I do it? So flow is like the word of this year, and it may well be that it carries on into next year as well. But
Nice.
who knows? So yeah, being
Watch
in
this
flow.
space. So if anyone wants to get hold of you and to look at the academy, if they're interested in learning a bit more about Canva, where can they find you?
So I'm on LinkedIn, so you can search me, just Marie-Louise O'Neill. And also my website, lovelyevolution.co.uk, has got a link to the Lovely Canva Club membership, and there's a page dedicated to get your designs done, that service. So if you've been lingering on your Canva designs and kind of thinking, oh, I need help, I can be the one to move that forward for you. So yeah, just connecting with me on whichever social media platform. I'm on most of the main ones: Facebook, on LinkedIn and Instagram. The others I've either do not have the interest or haven't got onto it. People keep going, go get yourself on TikTok, and I'm like, oh, I don't think I can cope with the that's a whole nother level. Yeah,
I
maybe
love your
eventually.
honesty. I love your
Yeah,
honesty, Marie-Louise. Right, thank you so much for joining me.
thank you.
And yeah, I will speak to you again soon. And thank you for listening.
Thank you.
Thank you for watching to the end. I really appreciate it, and it shows that you are serious about moving your business forward. I want to share something with you. When I was little, I watched my mum skip meals so my brother and I could eat because she didn't have enough money to feed us all. That pain changed everything. I promised myself I would never need to rely on anyone else financially. I worked relentlessly towards financial independence. Even as a young parent of 19, I still worked. And once I achieved financial independence, I became passionate that everyone deserves the same. But here's what I've discovered. Successful business owners can feel financially trapped, just in a different way. And that's why I created the Money Metrics Academy to help you understand your essential business numbers in under an hour a week. No jargon, no overwhelm, just the clarity you need for true financial independence. Why not join the free entry-level membership and see how the community can help you? Let's get unstuck together.